In this video, we're going to be going over solving systems of equations. We're going to use substitution and the elimination method to solve some of these systems. For question 1, we have 4x plus 2y equals 10, and we have x minus y equals 13. The first step is going to be to get one of the variables by itself. The easiest variable to get by itself is this x right here. To get that x by itself, all we need to do is add y over to the other side. And if we add y on both sides, we'll get that x equals 13 plus y. Now that we have x by itself, we can plug in what x is equal to in for x in the other equation. So we'll start writing the other equation, 4, and then instead of x, we're going to write what x is equal to, which is going to be 13 plus y. Then plus 2y plus 2y equals 10. To get y by itself, we need to distribute this 4 first. 4 times 13 is 52. 4 times y is 4y plus 2y equals 10. At this point, we're going to combine like terms. 4y plus 2y is 6y. And we still have 52 plus, and then equals 10. Next, we're going to subtract 52 on each side. And we're going to get that 6y equals 10 minus 52 is negative 42. The last step to get y by itself is to divide each side by 6. We're going to get that y equals negative 42 divided by 6 is going to be negative 7. Now that we have what y equals, we can plug it back into our equation for x. So we're going to have that x equals 13 plus, and then instead of y, we're going to plug in what y is equal to, negative 7. 13 plus negative 7 is the same as 13 minus 7, which would just be 6. So we have that the answer of this system of equations is going to be 6 comma negative 7. For number 2, we have x plus 7y equals 0, and 2x minus 8y equals 22. The first step here is going to be the same. We're going to look for what variable to solve for and get on its own. In this example, we're going to get x by itself. The reason why we choose x is because x has no coefficient in front, or the coefficient is 1. And once we isolate it, we don't have to divide by a number and possibly get a fraction. So in order to get x by itself, all we need to do is subtract 7y over to the right side, and we'll end up with x equals negative 7y. Now that we have x by itself, we can plug it in for x in the other equation. For the other equation, we have 2, and then instead of x, we're going to plug in what x is equal to, minus 8y equals 22. Here, instead of x, we're going to plug in what x is equal to, which is negative 7y. 2 times negative 7y is negative 14y, minus 8y is going to equal 22. Negative 14y minus 8y is going to be negative 22y, and that's going to be equal to 22. The last step to get y by itself is going to be to divide by negative 22 on each side, and then we'll find that y equals negative 1. Now that we have what y is equal to, we can plug it in for y in the equation with x. So here we're going to have x equals -7, and then instead of y, we're going to plug in what y is equal to, which is -1. -7 times -1 is going to be +7. And we find that the solution to this system of equations is going to be 7, -1. Okay, for number 3, we have -7x plus 2y equals 18, and we have 6x plus 6y equals 0. Here we can solve for either x or y in the equation below. We'll solve for y in this equation. Our first step is going to be to move the 6x over to the other side by subtracting 6x. We'll end up with 6y equals -6x. And if we divide both sides by 6, we'll end up with y equals -x. Now for the equation on top, since we have a y equals, we're going to substitute y with whatever y equals. So starting off with the equation on top, we're going to have -7x plus 2 times y, which is going to be -x, is going to equal 18. We'll have -7x, 2 times -x is -2x, and this is going to equal 18. We combine like terms, -7 minus 2 is -9x, and that's going to equal 18. To get x by itself, we're going to divide each side by -9. And we're going to end up with x equals -2. Now that we have what x is equal to, we can plug it in for x in the equation for y. So we know that y equals -x, x is -2, and -2, when you have two negatives like this, it's going to just turn into +2. And the solution to this system of equations is going to be -2, 2. For number 4, we have 4x minus y equals 20, and -2x minus 2y equals 10. For this question, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to solve this equation using elimination rather than substitution. When we're trying to eliminate a variable, what we want is for the coefficient of a specific variable to have the same number but opposite signs. So for example, in number 4, we're going to eliminate x. What we need to do in order to eliminate x is multiply the bottom equation by 2. What this is going to give us is -4x minus 4y equals 20. Now if we add the two equations together, the equation on top I'll write as number 1, and the equation here, number 2, if we combine them or add them together, 4x minus 4x is going to be 0. -y minus 4y is going to be minus 5y. And then 20 plus 20 is going to be 40. To get y by itself, we need to divide each side by -5. And we'll get that y equals 40 divided by -5 is -8. Now we can use y to plug it into any equation to try to figure out what x is. If we start off with equation number 1, 4x minus, we can plug in y here, -8 is going to be equal to 20. When you have minus negative, that turns into a positive, and we'll have 4x plus 8 equals 20. Next, we're going to subtract 8 on both sides. We'll have 4x equals 12. And then finally, to get x by itself, we can divide each side by 4. And we will get that x equals 3. So the solution to this system of equations is going to be 3 comma negative 8. For number 5, we have negative 8x minus 10y equals 24, and 6x plus 5y equals 2. Here we're going to do the same thing as what we did in question number 4. We're going to multiply the bottom equation by 2, so that on top we have negative 10y, and on the bottom we're going to have positive 10y. If we multiply the bottom equation by 2, we'll get 12x plus 10y equals 4. And then we can cross this equation out, call this equation number 1, equation number 2, and then we're going to add the two equations together. Negative 8x plus 12x is going to be 4x. Negative 10y plus 10y is 0. And then 24 plus 4 is going to be 28. In order to get x by itself, we divide each side by 4, and we'll get that x equals 7. We can use this and plug it back in to equation number 1, or the original equation here. We'll actually use this original equation. I'll call it equation number 3, where we have 6x plus 5y equals 2. We know what x is, so we're going to write 6 inside of the parentheses. Instead of x, we're going to plug in 7 plus 5y, and that's going to equal 2. 6 times 7 is 42, plus 5y equals 2. To get y by itself, first we have to subtract 42 on each side. We'll get 5y equals negative 40. And if we divide each side by 5, we will get that x equals negative 8. And the solution to this system of equations will be 7 comma negative 8. Okay, number 6. The last system of equations for this video. We have 6x minus 12y equals 24, and negative x minus 6y equals 4. So what we're going to do is eliminate the y variable. The way that we're going to do that is by multiplying the bottom equation by negative 2, so that we have negative 12y and positive 12y. If we distribute negative 2, we'll get positive 2x plus 12y equals negative 8. We'll cross this equation out. On top we have equation number 1, on the bottom we have equation number 2. And then now that the y's are set up, we can eliminate the variables or add the two equations together. 6x plus 2x is going to be 8x. Negative 12y plus 12y is going to be 0. And then 24 minus 8 will be 16. We'll have 8x equals 16. And we'll divide by 8 on each side. We'll get that x equals 16 over 8 is going to be 2. We can plug this back into any equation. I'll plug it back into the original one that I crossed out. Negative x minus 6y equals 4. Instead of x, we're going to plug in 2. and then minus 6y equals 4. Negative 1 times 2 is going to be negative 2 minus 6y equals 4. We're going to add 2 on each side, and we're going to get negative 6y equals 4 plus 2, which is 6. And the last step to get y by itself is going to be to divide by negative 6 on each side. And we're going to get that y equals negative 1. So the solution to this system of equations is going to be 2 comma negative 1. If you learned something new in this video, please make sure to subscribe to our channel for more algebra and SAT help. If there's something that you didn't understand in this video, please make sure to include it in the comment section below, and I'll try my best to read every comment and address them. I'll see you in the next one.